The stories presented in this content have been curated from various online sources, including Reddit, Quora, and similar forums. While these narratives are intriguing, they may not reflect real events and we cannot verify their authenticity. For the purpose of storytelling, we have made creative adjustments, adding, removing, or modifying certain elements to enhance the narrative flow and engagement. These stories are shared not only for entertainment, but also to shed light on the darker corners of the internet and the potential consequences of exploring them recklessly. We do not condone or promote any of the actions or events described. Our aim is to inform and entertain, encouraging our audience to browse the internet responsibly. Stay cautious, stay safe, and always prioritize your digital security.
Ethan was used to solitude. As a graphic designer, his world was confined to the glow of his computer screen and the cluttered desk in his modest apartment. His interactions with others were sparse, limited to curt emails with clients or the occasional nod to his neighbors in the hallway. It wasn't that he disliked people. He simply preferred the quiet, predictable cadence of his isolated life. One ordinary evening, as Ethan settled into his nightly routine of scrolling through design forums, a knock at the door startled him. He wasn't expecting visitors or deliveries. Hesitantly, he opened the door to find a small brown package resting on the welcome mat. It was unmarked, save for his name written in elegant cursive. Curiosity piqued, Ethan carried the package inside and opened it. Inside was a music box, its intricate carvings and antique design unmistakably expensive. He wound the key on the side, and the box came alive with a hauntingly beautiful melody. As the music played, he noticed a folded note tucked beneath the lid. "Your first gift. Welcome to the club." Ethan frowned. He hadn't ordered anything like this, nor had he joined any kind of club. Assuming it was some kind of mistake, he set the box aside, intending to donate it later. But as he prepared for bed, the melody from the box lingered in his mind, its eerie tune looping endlessly in his thoughts. The second package arrived 2 days later. This time, Ethan was less surprised but far more unsettled. Inside was a photograph in a cracked wooden frame. The image was black and white, depicting a family standing in front of an old farmhouse. Their expressions were unnervingly blank, and their eyes seemed to follow Ethan as he moved the frame. A note accompanied the photograph. "Every gift tells a story. Display it with pride." Ethan's unease grew. He searched the packaging for any sender information, but it was devoid of clues. Deciding to get to the bottom of it, he spent hours scouring the internet for similar cases or a subscription service matching these bizarre deliveries. He found nothing. The next day, he woke to find the photograph inexplicably hanging on his living room wall, despite having left it in the box the night before. His hands trembled as he unhooked it and threw it into the trash. The deliveries didn't stop. A porcelain doll arrived next, its glassy eyes staring into the void. Ethan shoved it into a drawer, only to find it sitting upright on his nightstand the following morning. Then came a jar filled with an inky black substance labeled "Last Breath of a Stranger." Ethan's dread intensified as the objects began to assert their presence, as though they were alive. It wasn't long before the emails started. The first one landed in his inbox with the subject line, "Do you appreciate your gifts?" The body contained no text, only a single image of his apartment, with him sitting at his desk, opening the latest package. He froze. The angle was impossible, as though someone had been inside his home. Panicked, Ethan called the police, but they dismissed his concerns, attributing the emails to a prank. Even his friends thought he was overreacting. Left to face the escalating nightmare alone, Ethan tried ignoring the packages altogether. When the next delivery arrived, a silver mirror that seemed to distort his reflection, Ethan didn't open it. Instead, he left it outside his door. That evening, his neighbor, an elderly woman who always greeted him warmly, was found dead in the stairwell. The following morning, another email arrived. When you refuse the gifts, others suffer. Do better. Desperation consumed Ethan. He began documenting everything, recording videos of himself and the packages, hoping to gather proof. But each attempt yielded nothing but corrupted footage or blank screens. The objects became more aggressive. The music box played by itself at night, the doll moved from room to room, and the jar of black ichor began to leak a substance that evaporated into smoke when touched. Ethan's life unraveled. Sleep became a distant memory. The walls of his apartment seemed to close in on him, whispering threats and promises in a language he didn't understand. Every time he considered leaving the apartment, another package would arrive, as if the mysterious sender knew his every move. Finally, he found a clue, or so he thought. While examining the jar, he noticed faint etchings on the lid. After hours of deciphering, he realized it was an address. Armed with a sliver of hope, Ethan decided to confront whoever was behind the deliveries. The address led him to a dilapidated warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The air was thick with decay, and the walls were covered in graffiti that seemed to pulse and shift under the flickering light. Inside, Ethan found rows of shelves, each filled with items like the ones he had received. Music boxes, dolls, photographs, and jars lined the walls, each labeled with names. His name was among them, scrawled on a placard beneath a glass case containing the cursed photograph and doll. A figure emerged from the shadows, a gaunt man with hollow eyes and a knowing smile. "You've made it this far," the man said, his voice a blend of warmth and menace. "Not everyone does." Ethan demanded answers, his voice trembling. The man explained that the club was a cycle, a game of torment passed from one victim to the next. The only way to escape was to recruit someone else, someone who would willingly accept the first package and open the music box. Ethan's horror deepened. He couldn't imagine subjecting anyone to this nightmare, but as he stumbled out of the warehouse, he received another email. "Tick-tock, Ethan. Choose wisely." Back in his apartment, Ethan stared at the unopened package on his doorstep. His reflection in the distorted mirror whispered to him, urging him to end it. The doll sat motionless on the couch, but he could feel its eyes on him. Weeks passed. The accidents around him grew more brutal, and the weight of his guilt crushed him. Finally, in a moment of weakness, Ethan slipped the music box into a new package, sealed it, and addressed it to a name chosen at random. The next morning, the email arrived. "Congratulations, Ethan. Your subscription has ended. Enjoy your freedom." But freedom was a lie. The gift stopped coming, but the guilt and nightmares stayed. Every knock on his door felt like an echo of the horror he had unleashed on someone else. He had escaped the game, but at what cost? The final twist came months later when Ethan received a single, unmarked envelope. Inside was a note. "Welcome back. You're never really free."